Hello, and a very warm welcome indeed to today's iOB business webinar. My name is Ben, and I'm the resident business coach here at iOB Business, and I'll be the one taking you through today's webinar presentation. Now, just before we get kicked off, a little bit about how these webinars operate so that you get the absolute most from today's session. So if you have any questions at all throughout today's webinar, please do feel free to ask them. We'll be taking a pause in between each of the three core topics that we're going to discuss today to give you a chance to ask any questions and indeed jot down any notes that you might wish to take as well. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll answer those questions at the end of today's webinar session during the Q&A segment, right at the end there. We always run that for a few minutes, and it's always fantastic to answer the questions that you have for us, so please don't be shy in asking. Okay, so what we're going to do now is switch off the video camera. Welcome to those of you that are joining just now. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to come on and speak to us this morning. So let's go ahead, switch off the video camera, and we'll pull the presentation that we have up on screen there today as well. Okay, so how to optimize your business on social media channels. Okay, so let's talk about how this is going to work. Okay, now, right before we dive in, could I just ask a very, very quick favor, please? In the chat box, please let me know that you can hear my voice okay, and that you can see the presentation up on screen there as well. Don't worry if you can't see my face. I switched off the video camera, so you should just be able to hear me, and you should be able to see the presentation up on screen. So once we have confirmation on those two things, I will know that we are ready to go. All clear, Ben? Yes. Perfect. Wonderful. Okay, excellent. So not that we ever expected, but if you do have any technical difficulties, please do let us know and we'll do what we can to get you back online and back in the webinar. Okay, so how to optimize your business on social media channels. Let's talk about it. Okay, so first things first, my name is Ben. If you're just joining us now, I am a business coach and I specialize in working with small businesses just like many of you on here. It's an absolute pleasure. I love doing these webinars and thank you for taking the time to join us today. Okay, so we're going to be talking about three things today. Okay, we're talking all about social media and how to optimize your business on social media channels. So we're going to begin with learning the absolute basics. Okay, so for those of you that are a little bit more experienced, this could be useful for you as well. And for those of you that have never really used social media or you're not that familiar, this is going to be really, really useful for you as well. Okay, how to build an audience that buys. Okay, so we're going to talk about building not necessarily just an empty following. We're going to talk about how you can build a following that actually makes sense for you and your business. And finally, your posting recipe, because the big question that always gets asked is, okay, that's great, Ben, but what do I post and how do I post it and how often do I post it? So we're going to talk about that as well. Okay. Now, beginning with number one, learning the absolute basics. Okay. So we've got Facebook, we've got LinkedIn, we've got Instagram. Okay. We've got three core channels. So I'm going to speak to you about what each of these are, how they work, best ways to use them. Okay. So let's begin with Facebook. Okay. Now, Facebook is probably, in my opinion, the most well-known in terms of your general worldwide audience. When we say social media, what pops to mind is probably going to be Facebook. Okay. Why? Because it's long-serving, it's got billions of users, and it's very, very, very popular as a platform, even still now, and it has been running for a very, very long time. So going back to basics, how do you use Facebook? How do you make a Facebook account? Okay, it's fairly simplistic. You very likely already have a Facebook account, but if you don't, you just go to Facebook, type it into your search browser, open Facebook up, make an account. It's that easy, okay? It's that simple. Now, what you might know is how Facebook works in a personal capacity. What you might not know is that it can be so useful for business as well, okay? So there is a feature within Facebook called Facebook Groups, okay? Now, I'm talking from personal experience here and experience of a lot of my clients as well, okay? Using Facebook groups can be extremely effective in a business capacity for two main reasons, okay? The first one is that you can join business groups on Facebook. Now, before we get into that, I should actually probably tell you what groups are, okay? So essentially, you have your main Facebook feed, and then you have separate groups, which are essentially communities of people that have decided to create a group around a specific topic. So let's say if you imagine you're in a physical group, you're standing there and you're all discussing the same topic. This is what Facebook groups are. So it's separate from your main feed. It's separate from the business page. They are their own entity almost, okay? So you can join other business-oriented groups in whatever specific niche you want to learn about. If you want to learn more about marketing, more about advertising, more about business growth, more about finance management, you can join groups where you can learn this kind of thing. Now, the other reason that they're so effective is because you can use them to your advantage for a business capacity as well. You can create your own group. You can educate people within that group on the topic that you're an expert in, and then that may lead to business for you. Okay. Now you can also join other groups with permission of the group admin, the owner of the group, okay, or one of the kind of controllers of the group. You can ask them if you're allowed to promote in any specific way as well. So Facebook groups are very, very valuable. Now, next we have business pages. Business pages are different to your personal page, okay? A business page operates purely in a business capacity and will operate under your business name. So this is there to promote and talk about your business. Now, sometimes people choose to put a little bit of personal stuff on their business page, and they do that to make themselves approachable, okay? Sometimes if we're all business, it can seem a little bit difficult for potential clients to kind of get in touch with us or people to just generally connect with us. So we want to come across as humans, okay, as human beings as well as businesses, so that we can actually talk to and connect with our customers. But a business page will accumulate followers instead of your personal profile, which you accumulate friends on, okay? They're different things, and it's easy to get confused between the two. So you have your personal profile and you have your business page. Your page builds followers, your profile builds friends, okay? So when you're using a business page, you can use it in a business capacity, and it's a very, very useful tool. You can also run adverts off of this as well, okay? So then finally, we have the personal profile, okay? Now, this is a little bit more of a personal connection. So when you make a friend on Facebook, you're essentially giving each other permission to message each other, stay in touch, see what each other are posting, okay? So this can be very, very valuable for contacts in the business world if you want to have a bit more of a personal relationship with them, okay? Because if they follow you on your business page, they'll simply be watching what you're doing when you're posting on Facebook and following your business journey, but they won't actually be able to connect with you, okay? Becoming your friend on a personal profile allows them that opportunity to connect with you in a business capacity if that's how you want it to be. And then they can converse with you and you can see what they're up to on Facebook as much as they can see what you're up to as well. So 3 really, really useful ways to use Facebook. Okay, now LinkedIn. If you are a professional in any capacity, the chances are you will be familiar with LinkedIn because it is purely a business-based platform. Okay, it's a professional network. Essentially, the way that LinkedIn describe themselves largely is a social media network for professionals. Okay, so you've got a few different ways to use LinkedIn as well. Okay, first one is your personal or your professional page. Okay, now it's a personal profile similar to Facebook, but it's oriented around business. Okay, now nobody will be surprised if you talk about business nonstop on LinkedIn because that's the platform where it's expected. People talk about networking experiences or their business journey so far or what they're up to in business now. Okay, and people will do this on their personal professional page. And the reason for that is so that they can essentially build a network of like-minded people, people that are like them, people that are interested in their journey, and people that might be potential network contacts. Okay, it's very, very useful. Let's just say in your digital marketing agency, you are looking to build valuable contacts in different niches. Somebody might contact you and say, hey, I'm an expert in SEO. Hey, I'm an expert in Google Ads. Do you want to collaborate? Do you want to work together? Do you have any clients that I could help, and vice versa? Okay, that's why it's so useful being in these professional networks. Okay, now, second, you can have a company or business page on LinkedIn. Okay, and this is similar to Facebook again. Okay, with the business pages, this is a page where people can follow your business journey. Okay, but you're speaking as the business, not as you yourself. So let's say that you had multiple companies or multiple businesses, you would talk about this in your personal professional page. Okay, you would talk about what you're up to as an entrepreneur. On your company page, you would talk about what you're up to as a company. Okay, what's the next big development with your agency? What's happening there? Okay, whereas in a personal capacity, you might be talking about what you're up to with your next personal venture or a great networking event that you just went to. Okay, there are different balances for different things. And again, on a personal professional page, you'll make connections. Okay, that's what it's called when you connect with somebody on LinkedIn. And in a company or business page, you'll build followers. All right. Now, Instagram, okay, in its own right as a business platform, you're looking at a business account. Okay, now Instagram essentially is mostly pictures with a little bit of text. Okay, now the reason that that's useful is because it allows you to showcase really, really great images of what you're up to as a business. Okay. Now, with a business account, this is what you would be looking at. Okay. You can have personal accounts on Instagram, but typically, if you're looking to follow the business route on Instagram, your best way forwards is to open up a business account that is designed slightly differently to a personal account on Instagram and will help Instagram recognize that you're a business and you would like to connect with other businesses. Okay. So, in a nutshell, that is three of the core online platforms that are incredibly useful for social networking online for your business. So I will leave that up on screen for you just there if you'd like to take any notes, and please do feel free to ask away with any questions. I'll see you again in just a moment for topic number 2. Okay, wonderful. So let's now move ourselves on to topic number 2. Excuse me. How to build an audience that buys. Okay, so an audience of large numbers is redundant if they have no interest in your brand. Okay, and this is a message I really, really want to get across today. Okay, simply having a large following that has no purpose, let's call it an empty following. And the reason I'm saying that is because you could have 1,000 or 10,000 or 50,000 followers on your business page, but if they are not acting to do anything or engage or interact with your business, or if you put out a post and it gets one interaction, it's an empty following. Okay, nobody's doing anything. So whilst a large following might look impressive, please don't run ads just to build followings that are not interested in your brand. Okay, it's not just about aesthetics. Okay, I would rather have a page with 1,000 followers that actually wanted to interact and engage and enjoyed our posts and wanted to potentially do business with us than I would have 50,000 who didn't engage or do anything. Okay, so it's a really, really important message. Okay, an audience of large numbers is completely redundant if they have no interest in your brand. Okay, we don't want to be followed simply for the sake of being followed. Now, this might seem familiar to you. You might have had an experience yourself where you've actually seen a business profile on one of these social media platforms and you've seen that they've got multiple thousands of followers, but nobody actually interacts and engages with them. Okay, so very, very important to keep this lesson in mind. Now, you must first understand who your ideal client is. Okay, who is the person or business that would buy from you? Now, if you're a digital marketing agency, who are the types of people that might be interested in working with you? Okay, is it other small businesses? Is it local businesses? Is it people that are looking to go online? Is it e-commerce stores? Is it people that sell clothing? Is it people that sell food? What is it and who are they? Okay, this is what you have to ask yourself, and this is what you really have to understand, because if you don't, you're going to struggle to build a following that actually makes sense for you and your business. And whilst, again, we said aesthetically, large numbers can look impressive, that is all that it is. It looks impressive, but you know on your side, they're not actually doing anything for you. So think about who your ideal client is, because I'll tell you one thing, it's going to be very difficult to build a following of ideal clients when you don't know who that ideal client is. So please, if necessary, review your business structure and think, who would my service offering apply to? Who's going to really make benefit from this? Who's going to enjoy what I have to offer? Okay. Now we've got to think about content styles and content posting. Yes. But before you start thinking about the type of content that you want to post, you need to know who you're talking to. Okay. Now, this is like going in for a conversation with a random person. How could you possibly know what to talk about if you didn't know what they were interested in? Okay. You scope it out first. You join with, politeness. You go in and you just make a little bit of chit chat until you find something the other person's interested in. And then you begin talking about that. Okay. So who's the person or business that would buy from you? Now, please never blindly request followers of your page. Okay, you're building a following that will one day buy, not building a following simply for the sake of having a large following. Okay, the other thing that it can do is it can come across as, if you say, please follow my page, please follow my page, please follow my page, it comes across again potentially as an empty request, because first of all, it doesn't look great for our business if we're out there asking for followers. Okay, people should be following us because they want to follow us, not because we've asked them to. Okay. Now, the second thing is, even if somebody does turn around and say, yes, I will follow your page, what's the purpose of that? Where is it going to lead to? Okay. Because ultimately there is no destination there. Somebody will be following your page, but has no intention to interact with you or buy. So they'll see potentially see your post in their feed, and then they won't engage or react with it because they're not really interested in what your brand is or what you're doing or what you offer as a business. And this isn't a good situation to be in. So let's avoid that by not blindly requesting followers of our page. We're building a following that will one day buy from us, even if it's 3 years from now. We want somebody who is somewhat interested in what we do. Okay, so interact in groups, comment on relevant pages, and if possible, run ads to your ideal demographic. Okay. Once you know who that demographic is, it makes sense to then start looking at advertising and potentially start running adverts because you know who it is you're trying to speak to. And this is a very, very different story from kind of blindly running ads and hoping that we just build followers, because you will be able to build followers. Okay. If you want to just build followers for the sake of building them, you can do that. You just run an advert and you ask the platform to build followers for you, and it will do as you have asked it to do. But there will be followers that are not necessarily going to engage with anything or potentially buy from you. Okay. Now, commenting on relevant pages, posts, just dropping a nice comment. Why is that important? Because you want people to be doing that for you. Okay. So we can't expect people to interact and engage with us if we don't interact and engage with them. Again, it's like standing, in a kind of busy market and expecting people to just come over and start speaking to us. Okay. But it's not really the way that it works. You have to go out and make that conversation if you want it in return. Okay. Now, we also can't expect these social media platforms to push us out to people who want to interact and engage with us if we ourselves are not interacting and engaging. Okay, so just as important as waiting and expecting people to engage with us, go out and make an active effort to engage with other people on social media as well. Okay, interact in groups, comment on relevant pages, be part of the conversation. Okay, so that brings us to the end of topic number 2. And hopefully that last bit hit home there a little bit, because I know that kind of gives a light bulb moment for a lot of people when I say that, and it's fantastic. And hopefully it did the same for you. So I'll see you again in just a moment for topic number 3. Wonderful. So let's move ourselves on to the third and final topic, your posting recipe. Okay. And this is potentially the part that you've been waiting for the most. Okay. So what we're going to talk about is how to post and when to post. So the following method is a weekly recipe of content to engage your audience. Okay. Because once we've established who our ideal audience is, we're going to have to, excuse me, within reason, know what they want to hear about so that we can keep them engaged. Okay. Because we've got them, we've worked so hard to figure out who the ideal client is, who the ideal audience is. We've got them to follow our page. Now we want to make sure that we keep them there. And not only that, we want to make sure that we keep them interested. Okay. So first things first, personal post, okay, to come across as a human as opposed to a business. Show a bit of vulnerability, okay? It's okay sometimes to talk about if you had a difficult day, if you had a difficult experience with business, how you overcame that, okay? Now, the phrase comes to mind here, and it's problem solution, okay? Never present a problem without a solution. So if you're going to talk about a bit of hardship, don't just aimlessly complain on social media, okay? Because that's not productive and it's not useful for anyone, including yourself, okay? Talk about a problem and then talk about how you overcame it, okay? Talk about how you dealt with it. Talk about how you smashed it out the park. So personal posts to come across as a human as opposed to a business. Showing that bit of vulnerability allows people to connect with you, okay? Now, if we think about this in a personal capacity, is it easy or difficult to connect with people that don't show any vulnerability at all? It's difficult, in my opinion, okay? So personal posts show you a chance to come across as a human being and as a business and say, hey, look, I'm the face of this business. This is what we're up to. This is what we're doing. And it's okay to show a little bit of vulnerability. Okay. Next thing you can do, tell a story, preferably via video or long text post. Okay. Talk about what happened this week. What happened with your day? What was a big business idea that you had? What was a big business venture that you went on? People connect with you. They connect with stories. They connect with what's going on. Become the face of your brand and allow people to connect with that. It's very, very difficult in today's digital age to be a faceless business, okay? People will struggle to connect with something that doesn't seem personable, okay? So we don't want to have too much of a kind of, for want of a better word, potentially corporate outlook on our business, okay? We want people to see us as a person, see us as a face of the business, see us as the owner, and enjoy and understand our business. And that's only going to happen if we're showing a little bit of vulnerability, the good times and the bad times. We tell some stories, long text post with a valuable ending, a good video, perhaps, where we're on just talking about certain things. Okay. So Next thing, give immense value, okay? How-to guide is a good example of this. How to grow your following on social media, to stay on today's topic, okay? Why? Because you're giving them something. You're saying, hey, you followed me for a reason. And that reason is because I'm going to help you get somewhere, okay? I'm going to show you a way to do something that you're looking to do, okay? You want to grow your following on social media, but you don't know how. So I'm going to show you with a how-to guide, okay? You're giving immense value, and immense is the key word here. There's a reason I'm saying that word over and over and over and over, okay? Because it has to be immense value for people to actually take action on it, okay? If it's how to open up a new social media account, okay, people can probably figure that out. I wouldn't say that's immense value. It's valuable, sure, to some people, but immense value is how to do something that you really want to do, okay? So I'm going to show you how to do that. And finally, the offer, okay? So this is a posting recipe, okay? Now, your offer, okay? We have to be reasonable with this. We don't want to spam our followers and say, hey, buy from me, buy from me, buy from me. Because if you do it too often, that's all they see. And eventually you're going to end up going the other direction, okay? Because sometimes people may think it's a good idea to just say, buy from me, buy from me, buy from me. Now, although you're not saying those words, you're saying, hey, we have a new offer. Hey, we have this. We're doing discounts on that, okay? It looks a little bit like the only purpose of the page is to try and garner income, okay? Which, even if that is true, you don't want that to be abundantly obvious, and it will be if you're trying to make an offer every single day, okay? So keep it to every 2 weeks at the most. It's a nice kind of sweet spot. These other three, value, stories, and personal posts, maybe an update with what's going on with the business from time to time, will help people engage and interact with you. And then when you come out with an offer, they'll think, you know what, they don't ask for it that often. I'm going to have a look and see what they say, because it must be worth looking at, because they don't do it that often. Okay. When anything is in abundance, we don't want it as much. It's human nature. Okay. So every 2 weeks at the most. Now that brings us to the end of topic number 3 and the end of today's webinar. So what we'll do is we'll take another brief pause. We'll go into a recap, and then we'll cover the Q&A session. I'll see you again in just a moment. Perfect. So let's recap today's session. 3 channels: Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. If you start somewhere, start here. Build an audience that is likely to buy, not an empty following. And finally, offer every 2 weeks at the most. Okay, we don't want to go into overdrive with our offers. So let's pull up the questions that we have from you lovely people today. Now, if you'd like to talk to a member of our team, you're more than welcome to head over to iob-business.com/talk and book a call at a time that suits you. So if you follow that link, you'll see a calendar just like this pop up on your screen. And as always, a massive thank you for taking the time to attend. I love doing these webinars, and I love that so many people get such value from them. And thank you for the question. So first question, I love this one because I get it all the time, and it's such a good question. What's your advice for people who are nervous on video? Okay. Here's something that really, really helped me. Okay. Now, of course, now I'm very, very comfortable with running webinars, being on video, being online, but that wasn't always the case. And it's very rarely the case for anyone. So what I recommend doing, and something that I personally did, was record on your own device first, watch it back, and then post if you're comfortable with it. Okay. Because ultimately, there's nothing to be scared of. You're simply recording a video on your own device. Therefore, it's not going out to anyone unless you want it to. So that really, really helped me. Great question. And then as you get more comfortable, then you can start going live. You can start doing things in live time. Thank you for the question. Next question. I'm struggling to build my network on social media. Any advice for this? Yes, absolutely. I would recommend potentially going to networking events with other professionals. Okay. Go into these environments and, hand out business cards or connect with people there and then, even. Why not, right? Make a connection on LinkedIn whilst you're at the event. So have a little bit of a back and forth and say, hey, it'd be great to connect online. What's your LinkedIn? Okay. And you can connect with each other. Same with Instagram, same with Facebook, and start building your following this way. And then you'll see suggested and recommended connections. And that's how it grows. Other things that you could potentially even do is you could go as a guest. Okay. If you're an expert in a specific topic, you could speak as a guest at a networking event. You could speak as a guest online on a webinar. You could go as a guest on a podcast. You could do all of these things. And that will help you actually begin to build a following, because followers of that podcast, for example, will say, I really like what they had to say. Okay, so there you go. Okay, you can even piggyback, as it were, potentially from somebody else's brand, as long as they're happy for you to do so. All right, so another great question. Hope that helps, and thank you for asking. Do we have any more questions from today? Doesn't look like we do. Okay, fantastic. Well, as always, thank you very much indeed for taking the time to join, and have a wonderful weekend ahead. All the best, and bye for now.